This is Talk Business and Politics with Roby Brock.
Welcome to the program. I'm Roby Brock. Thanks for joining us. Joined by John Brummett of the Arkansas Democrat-Gazette. Good to see you, sir.
Good to be here. Good to be with you.
Happy birthday. You've turned another year older. Another trip around the sun. You look pretty good for 58.
Yeah, I think so. For 58. I'm about where I'm supposed to be, I think, for 68, which is what I actually am.
But trying to let you masquerade a little bit there. Come on now. So.
I don't think we could get away with that. I think there are a lot of miles on me that show a little bit. But thank you. I told somebody I felt as good Saturday on my 68th birthday as I had on any birthday, but that people had always said I was 68 at 38, kind of an old soul. So there's an advantage to that. When you get old, you're not different from the way you've always been.
True.
So there you go.
Truth to that as well. All right. Let's begin with this week. We will enter a special session mostly on tax reform. Let's talk just on that specific topic first before we digress.
Right.
We're going to lower the state's top income tax rate. You okay with that?
Oh, I've still got enough traditional progressivism in me that I'm not okay with that. I think, but it doesn't matter. I mean, it doesn't bother me as much as it once did. The most detail-based concern I have with this specific situation is that we may have a false sense of financial security because of all this federal money that's been printed and sent down here, some of which we can't even figure out how to spend. So we seem maybe healthier in our budget in a way that's not fully authentic. Nonetheless, the fact is we have, under the Hutchinson administration, over these 7 years, we have managed to draw down tax rates in a way that that has allowed us to continually fund the continuing level of state government spending. And as long as you can do that, it's hard to make a big political fight about it. But it all depends on how the revenue flow continues. But I may as well be for it because we're going to do it. We're getting ready to have the biggest income tax reduction in the state's history. That by the time it's done, by the time all the triggers are met and it's down to 4.9% at the top rate, we will have taken $500 million out of the state treasury, and we will have basically a flat tax rate of over $82,000. Everything over that, no matter if you make $700,000 or 82, those dollars will have the same rate. All those things are regressive. All those things, in my utopian concepts, I wish weren't so. In my political residence in the state of Arkansas in 2021, I know they are going to be so. So yeah, this would be a big deal. This is and is a big deal. But what we may be getting ready to get to is that this may not even be the big story of this session. The biggest tax increase in the state's history, with these questions that I've attempted to raise in a polite, meek manner, may not be the big story of the next week or two.
True. I would point out to viewers and listeners as well that there is over $1 billion already in savings as well.
Right.
There is this long-term reserve fund, catastrophic fund, I think is what they're going to rename it. So it kind of is a backstop if things do take a turn in the wrong direction.
The math is fully supportive of what we're doing, and that's one reason you don't hear me carrying on about it. But you asked if I'm okay with it. In terms of concepts, in terms of the future, and in terms of tax progressivity, that income tax rates should rise as you have more money. No, but nobody cares whether I'm okay with it or not. I don't have to be, and it's financially responsible in today, right at this moment. Yes. And it begins to phase down. Let me explain. They're not going from 5.9 to 4.9. They're going from 5.9 to what? 5.5. And then the others will come in phases, and some only if certain revenue flow triggers are met. So if you're going to do it, I applaud the incremental, mostly responsible way that Governor Hutchinson has done it and is doing it.
We still expect, though, a full repeal of the income tax to be filed. I don't know if it will go anywhere or move anywhere, but we'll at least hear from that from several conservative legislators. Will just say, let's do away with it all in one fell swoop or on a much faster basis. There will also be other bills that will be out there that will not have anything to do with tax reform. Let's talk about a little bit of those. Let's start first with Senator Jason Rapert has said he is bringing, although it is not on the special session call, a bill to mirror perhaps Texas's, maybe even Mississippi's restrictions on abortion rights. Any chance at all that this does not swirl into the debate? Does it get dealt with quickly and moves aside, or is it something that you think will extend the session much further beyond the 3 days that the governor and legislative leaders want?
The best and most insightful answer is that I do not know. However, I know that Jason Rapert is looking forward to, as he told me in a text last week, an exciting week. I know that he believes we should use. I said, why would you try to impose in Arkansas law this dubious Texas scheme when the Supreme Court of the United States, you've got 5 people indicating they're going to go with a much more straight up near repeal, if not outright repeal, of Roe v. Wade. And he said it's important to him that we use every tool available to us to continue to be, as he has made us, the most pro-life state in the country, according to somebody. He's running for lieutenant governor, at least for the time being. That's a factor in this. I forget your question. That was.
Does this debate extend the session beyond the 3 days? Yes.
I don't see any way the Senate doesn't vote to extend. I think there's a chance in the House. You got to get 1/3 plus 1, not to suspend the rules. I mean, you can't take up anything else. I have people saying there are soft commitments from enough Republicans to limit the agenda to what the governor's call is. That would require only what, 15 or 16, just a few Republicans, 15 or 16, to join the Democrats and not extend. And I think in the abstract, there's probably right now some support for that. Like, let's just do this and get home. It's Christmas and these other things can wait and they're not emergencies, and let's get these taxes cut. Yeah, I can do that. But then here's what happens. The pressure bills. You get something from the Senate that's of a pro-life nature that you have to then think of it specifically. Can I vote not to suspend the rules with this thing coming and go home and face a primary in which somebody could say, I voted with the Democrats, with the liberals on abortion. Same thing on critical race theory, which is not being taught. I mean, the theory itself. But this bill that's coming, if we can suspend the rules to say we can't teach anything in our history classes that might make the innocent little children feel guilty. That's actually one of the provisions in it. I've paraphrased it generously. You can say that's not an emergency. I don't think I'll vote for that. But then when in the moment, when you're faced with that and the momentum for it. So I think we just don't know. I think there are generally, conceptually, enough votes not to extend. I think in the heat of the moment and the current conservative politics played the way it's played in Arkansas, I think the pressure will be great not to extend. And that's just the best answer I can give you.
We mentioned the abortion bill. We mentioned the critical race theory legislation that you just referenced. Transgender rights, another one of these conservative kind of guideposts here that they frequently fall to for the things. We expect these types of things to come up in general. You've written a column about that. Kind of explain your logic behind why they do these things.
Well, the lead of that column, of which I was mildly proud, is that Asa Hutchinson wants next week to be a good Reagan conservative and cut taxes, with the with most of the money going to the highest income people. And all he wants is for his Republican legislature to not behave as Donald Trump Republicans, practicing not Reagan conservatism, but this new resentment-based conservatism in which you see all these liberal straw men who are about to take us over, and you look at every opportunity to, I think, grandstand. If you don't accept grandstand, just say propose those things in the session. And so that's the dynamic. You see the remarkable thing to me politically. Governor Hutchinson, I'm old enough, I'm nearly his age. I remember when he was what we thought was an extreme conservative. He's the same that he's always been. And now he's going before a conservative audience, the Arkansas Farm Bureau, and saying, please help me, just cut your taxes. These other guys want to do all these things that we don't need to do. It's going to complicate the situation. That's the political dynamic. It's all about, in many areas of the state, resenting liberals, resenting Democrats, being fearful of these ominous policies that supposedly are coming from the Bidens and the Kamala Harrises and the Nancy Pelosi's and the AOC's, and let's get out here and stop them. And that's a strong thing, and that's the dynamic that we're going to watch. And this next week or two will be a laboratory where we'll see that in play. We'll see the 1980s extreme conservatives simply wanting to give us a giant tax cut, and that may not be enough, because the new kind of conservatism is based on this fear and resentment of these outside national forces. So just sit back and see how that goes. But it's, as Jason Rakert said, it's going to be exciting, and he ought to know, because he intends to jump center stage.
Well, let me hone this question, I guess, a little bit more. The governor knows that politics is out there, that scenario you've just laid out is out there. Knowing that, and knowing that it has the ability to go way off of the tracks of what his call for the special session is, why would he do this? Because it is going to happen. If it's unsuccessful or successful remains to be seen. But the can of worms is going to be opened up, and the governor knows this. Why is he so driven to make this happen now instead of waiting to perhaps a fiscal session or a better timing on this?
I've had that same thought, and I've actually asked him that question, and he goes to this pronouncement of his, one of the main themes of his governorship being this tax reform, that our income taxes have been too high, too impairing to our economic growth. I think he's also thinking of his legacy. He also says we need to do it before the end of the year, so the income starting at the first of the year can all be factored in, so we can do it that way. But on the other hand, you're right. I mean, he has to know, and does know. He knows better than the rest of us what's coming. He's warning the Farm Bureau about it. But he's decided he wants to do, for reasons of his own belief, reasons having to do with his own legacy. And I think maybe, just to throw it out there, he has a national reputation that he's building, and he needs to balance being a post-Trump kind of Republican, which is getting some currency out there nationally, with still being a pretty dadgum reliable conservative, and having a fight down here to cut taxes in Arkansas, and getting income taxes cut in Arkansas is good for him. So all those, that may also be a factor. But as a very pragmatic man, which he is, he could just as easily say, I don't need the rest of this fight. But he wants to do it. He's determined to do it, and has resisted counsel that maybe it's not the practical thing to do. So that's the best I can say about that.
All right. Well, a week from now, when you and I circle back up for our next on the record conversation, I'm sure we'll have a lot more to work with, won't we?
We'll have some anecdotes to which to refer from this week. So, I'd say get your popcorn, but that's a Lane Kiffin cliche, so I don't say that. But
all right.
And it's a little more important than popcorn entertainment. But sit back. That's what I'll say. Sit
Turn
back.
your damn jukebox on is what you meant to say. Right?
There you go. There you go. All right. All
John
right.
Brummett, columnist with the Arkansas Democrat Gazette. Thanks.
Thank you, Roby. Bye-bye.